I'm Angela DiMarco, and I am Maria.
And why did you take the role?
Oh, why did I take the role of Maria? I took the role of Maria. I've never been a detective, let alone a badass, spicy Italian detective, so that's just an amazing challenge in itself. I love playing strong female roles in film and on stage, so I was excited that Maria was fighting her own battles and definitely still had her own secrets, but still could remain strong and still every now and again show a little bit of fragility, but come in with triumphant at the end. But on top of all of that, if you haven't noticed by the credits, depending on when you're watching this video, the project is written and directed by my sister Jennifer DiMarco. Hello, awesome. Also co-written by my mother Carol DiMarco. Hello, amazing. And starring not only my niece Faith DiMarco, my nephew Maxwell DiMarco, my 90-year-old grandmother. Maybe I shouldn't say how old she is. Jenny will edit this together. Will you edit? No, you can't edit. She will edit. Do a little editing. And also my grandmother, Eleanor DiMarco. So for me to be able to work on a project surrounded by my family, I can't think of a better way to spend a Monday night.
Angela, what kind of TV do you personally watch?
I'm gonna name drop some shows, and you're welcome to all the shows I'm about to name drop. I love Homeland because I am in love with Claire Danes. She's an actress that I myself, and I hope, Claire, you take this as a compliment if you ever see this movie, but she is just raw and powerful and emotional, but she is also facial. I'm an Italian. I use my hands, I use my face. I know less is more, a lot of times you hear that for film, but she's just not afraid to go there, but never during that entire season, the first season, when she's going through horrific things, did you feel like it was too much? You always believed it to be true. So shows like that, where I can relate as an actor to the other actor and then forget I'm watching this actress that I absolutely love, sucks me in time and time again. So Homeland, I love it. I'm also a little addicted to the dark side, like shows like Hannibal, The Following, I'm trying to think of. I like Orphan Black. That's kind of cool to have, that kind of a role where you can take on a lot of different personas. There's a lot of other shows I watch, but they might be a little too cliche, so I'm not going to say them. But when it comes to the Laurels, the plus of the Laurels, it'd be a show I would love to watch, but there's nothing like that out there. So that's why we're creating it.
That was a nice segue. Okay, so this is the question. In this series, you act as Maria, but you also have to read as Maria. How was that weird, different, cool, bizarre? You never want to do it again. All right, action.
To become Maria is one thing, but then to have each of the women throughout the show share their writings, and each of them are very different stories. So my character was mostly developed by my mom, by Carol DiMarco. So I remember asking, so when I read from Damaged, which is the novel that Maria, that I wrote, how does she sound? Am I like that writer who actually got one book out but really should never write again, and I maybe I'm a little shy when I read? And actually we just filmed the episode where I have a majority of my reading from Damaged, and I found that I decided, and Carol agreed to, and so did Jennifer, that Maria's proud of what she's written. And we have to remember that I, Maria, lived it. So if you can imagine, for any of you who've seen the news, when you have a serial killer, I mean, this is not something you're seeing on a TV show. This is reality. We made a reality that Maria is a detective who took down, for lack of a better, depending on how far you guys are along in the series with the twists and turns, but she was following the biggest serial killer of that county. So there's also a fear, I think, underneath, but a pride in when I'm reading. And also, hopefully, the way that I chose to make Maria read, it makes the viewer, you guys, the audience, but also the other ladies, want to know more. Now, when you see this episode, you'll realize some people try to knock me down a rung or two, but it was a trip as an actor. It was kind of cool. I didn't know how it was going to be shooting that episode, and I found myself really into it. And then when I was done, I wanted more pages to read. So there was something liberating, and right onto our writers, Jennifer and Carol, put the words actually there. So it wasn't like me as an actor having to memorize and pretend I'm reading. I don't know why anyone would ever do that, even on stage or screen. To actually be able to read it, which makes sense, I could take the time that Maria would take with each line to really make emphasis and, oh yeah, I remember when I wrote that, if that makes sense. So I loved it. I found it actually more freeing than performing. Does that make sense?
It does. Okay, and then this is, I think, going to be one of your favorite. You sit on your butt for hours and hours and hours. How is that challenging? Because it's such limited physicality.
It's awful. This is awful. You know why it's awful? Because you guys can already tell. I'm doing all this, and you see my hand, and you see my face, and I'm crossing my legs. My sister knew. I think this was a challenge that my sister, Jennifer, put forth only to torture me. She's like, haha, my baby sister who would run around the house and is like an Energizer bunny for her whole however many years I've been alive. It's challenging. I'm a mover. I definitely love to move, but I also don't believe in unmotivated movement. And there's been very few times that I feel like Maria should get up here. So being a teacher, as well as a producer and as well as an actor, but the teacher in me, I would tell my students that if they're in an episode or a film or a web series or whatnot, or a play, and they are sitting in a room at a writer's group, you wouldn't just get up and start moving around because you want to move. No, we're all sitting here, we're going to share, and I think that's more challenging. A, because I love to move and I drink a lot of coffee. But B, you just have to be grounded then. And if you're uncomfortable, maybe Maria is nervous, or maybe one of the other characters would be, then let that be true. So just let it be true that this is where you have to be. It doesn't mean you need to be completely at ease. Maybe you shift a lot. Maybe Maria, so it was a whole nother kind of character development for me. It was a whole nother scenario for me. And the fact that we're doing 8 full episodes like this, it's one thing, it's one scene, but it's a writer's group. Every episode is a writer's group. But now I love it. So I am finding I don't know if this is the right word, but the minutia of, oh, okay, well, Maria's gonna flip her hair. Where I'm trying not to think about it. I'm gonna listen and I will make it. So there are movements and blocking you can do. And it's things that I actually am now taking into class and talking to my young and adult actors, saying, don't ever let something limit you. And I did it first, and that was really wrong. And I still think my sister was challenging me. But now I love it. And awesome, it's a really comfy couch.
All right, and this is the one, you also worked as a casting director. Who did you cast and what was that like? Go for it.
I also assisted with casting. As you already know, why I loved to be a part of the show was because it's take it over.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right.
I also helped out with casting. As you already know, half of the cast is DiMarco's. So a lot of the casting was already completed. But my sister approached me and said, these are the kind of roles we're looking to fill. And that was the roles of, I think I'm using all wrong grammar. Let me take it again.
Do you want to start again? Yeah.
Yeah, I can't tell. I just want to sound like it.
Yeah, it's really easy to edit these,
Okay,
so.
okay.
All right, go for it.
I also assisted with casting. Half the cast was already completed with Faith and Max and my grandmother. So we had plenty of DiMarco's. We thought maybe we should get some other people besides DiMarco's in there. So my sister told me what we needed, which was Lori, Ashley, and Kathy. Instead of holding a long line of auditions, because I'm a teacher, because my husband and I have our own company, Mighty Tripod Productions, I told my sister, well, this would be a great opportunity for some of my students who've gone through several of our courses, so not brand newbies by any means. They've gone through our foundations, to our scene study, to our advanced, to our character development. and also my best friend Meg McLinn. So it's good when you're my best friend. That's a hookup. But also Meg McLinn is Lori times 5 million. She's just got the heart of what we needed for Lori. We needed someone too that was going to be able to work alongside a young 15-year-old boy who my nephew is. So, you know, who he is a phenomenal actor. He's like better than all of us. He's a pro. But also to be able to work off a kid. Some adult actors aren't great working with kids or teens. And for Kathy, we needed someone who maybe could sympathize with a PTSD or even just a vet of any level. And Polita has had hands-on work with and experience with soldiers. And she not only is by far one of the mightiest students I've worked with, she just dives in and keeps going deeper and deeper. And her character was written by my mom, Carol, and her and Carol just hit it off and immediately started developing this great camaraderie. And her and Ruby, played by my grandmother, also have a great connection. They fell in love the first day. That takes us to Jeannie Jew. Jeannie Jew is absolutely amazing. She's gonna be moving to LA, and I thought, what better way to get this girl not only on TV, but some hands-on experience. And with all three of them, from Meg McLinn to Jeannie and Polita, I also wanted people that could work with my family, that I wouldn't be embarrassing myself by telling my family, these three are the ones you guys are gonna wanna work with, they're gonna be professional, and yet we all can also have fun together and spend our summer. So I hope I did good. No, I don't hope. I know I did good. And I'm so glad my sister let me take part, because that's another fulfilling part for a teacher, to be on the casting side and be able to cast some of your students and say, you got the part.
Okay, and then this is more free form in some ways. It's your last words on the show, on your character, on whatever you want to say. And the only warning I've given everyone is just please don't do too many spoilers, because you said, we never know when someone's going to watch the bonus features.
Oh, okay. So what is this about my character?
This is last words on the Laurels,
series.
or on the character.
Okay, I'll do it.
Both.
I'll do it.
Okay, and action.
What I would love for you, the viewer, to take away from this show, and this can be if you're a man watching this, a woman watching this, a kid watching this, a grandma watching this, a grandpa, that everybody has a story to tell. And yet everybody probably also has a secret. But if we all could just get in one room together, how great would it be if we could share both?